All right, so we back again, back again, back again, and with being back again, you got to get some things squared away. You know, uh, when it come down to it, overall, we talked about the 9 laws of self-government yesterday, so I think I'm gonna go ahead and speak on that a little bit more today, and we're just gonna go into the 9 laws with finance talk. Um, so basically, dealing with these 9 laws, you got to get some things squared away with your 9 laws of self-government. You know, you got to be able to understand the discipline method. Uh, that's why I speak so heavy on it with the first and foremost with it. Being able to understand when you're using these 9 laws of self-government is to do what? Imply what? Do what for your life? Change, change, change. When it comes down to it, there's a lot of us that want to do better for our life, but we just don't know how. And that's when this come in. Knowing how, knowing what to do. Are we good? All right, so we're good now. Good, we good. All right. So basically, when it boils down to it, okay, mic check. Okay, we're good. Now, there are some things that we need to do. We need to adjust and to have ourselves being in a positive light. And being in a positive light, there's. Oh, got a call. So didn't have the mic set up, so just seeing that was done. Is in. Let's go to the unmute. Mic check, mic check. Mic check, mic check. Let's see. Get this layout. Single. Mic check, mic check. Well, the mic is off. What is going on here? I don't know what we're doing here. If you can hear me, put a one in the chat. Okay, let's see. Is the mic all the way down? Mic check, mic check. Might have to go for my other device. I'm not getting any mics. Okay, thank you, Toya. All right, so basically, just running down a little information. Got a call in and threw everything off. All right, let's see if we can zoom in on this. Don't look like we can. Boom. There we go. Get a little bigger. All right, so the 50, 30, 20 rule. When it comes down to it, there's a lot of people that don't know how to save their money. So with saving your money comes with budgeting and beyond. Shout out to Wanda, Budget and Beyond. A lot of people just don't know the basics. You never was taught this from your mother, your father, your uncle, grandmother, anybody that put you in position as an adult. Because for the most part, you were only in the house to be a child, to possibly do chores, and that's it. Most parents never really took the time to show their kids how to pay bills. Prime example, my grandmother, I think I was in high school, probably like ninth or 10th grade. I think it was 10th grade. And a situation happened where she went in the hospital for, I think, 2 weeks, almost 3 weeks. Um, Her purse was there. I was still going back and forth to school. My uncle was there. He wasn't really doing nothing. I cooked for myself. She was at the hospital, stayed there. I probably seen her one time when she was in the hospital. Other than that, I had my schoolwork. I had my chores to do around the house. And then I also had practice when I wrestled or played football. I know I was in the sports. I had to be wrestling. But basically, I wasn't missing practice and stuff like that. So when it came down to the bills, I seen the bills come in, popped the bill open, seen that one of the bills were past due. The other two bills for the light, water, and gas need to be paid. I went up there, got my grandma's purse. No, not supposed to go in the purse, but hey, I'm like, I'm not finna be in here with no lights off. Ain't no telling what time she's coming out of the hospital. They, pretty much running a lot of tests. So I went, took my computer, paid the bills with my computer. I set up accounts because older people, they're old fashioned. They like to mail their bills in. They like to go pay the bills in person at a place, reputable place. Sometimes I think back in the day you could pay it at the Georgia Power, but then they had like substations to where you can pay them like at the check cashing place. I knew that was one place I seen people pay, and there were other little small like places that you can pay your bills at. And they also had the online version that was just coming in too, where a lot of people wasn't using it. Because like I said, the older people they would mail their bills in when they were due, and I just actually paid all the utilities online. And then when it got down to the rent, I'm like, I did some research online and I found out you can go at least about, a couple of months before, foreclosure process starts and they try to default. It's not like staying in a apartment, which I thought after 30 days, you get kicked out your house. I learned that by just researching. Nobody told me. I looked it up myself and everything. So by the time my grandma came and she was like, "Oh, I forgot about these bills." She looked and seen her account was withdrawn by so much money and the bills were paid. She asked me how did I do it. And actually it was funny because a couple of times she forgot to pay the bills and she came to me and told me go ahead and pay it over the internet and did I have the accounts already set up, you know, because she forgot to mail in the checks. So I showed her how I paid it online and did that a couple of times for her. But majority of the time she was regular with paying her bills. And that's the thing. Things like that I wasn't taught. I learned on my own, you know, and you get put in situations sometimes you tend to, deal with the adversity and go with it. But at the 50/30/20 rule, pretty much you see the breakdown. 50% of your needs, your wants, dealing with your shopping and all that and so forth, and savings. A lot of times people don't know how to save because you never seen your parents save. You get paid on Friday, you pay all your bills. Whatever money you have from your bills, you go and you buy you some shoes or something like that. Going into law number one, discipline, having order in your life, sitting here and learning things like this about the 50/30/20 rule is to have a process on how things work. A lot of people don't have a process on how things work. And because you don't have a process, the issue is when it comes down to you paying your bills, being successful with it, you kind of suck at it. Some people they'll say, well, I paid this bill next month, or I'll put half on this bill, the next month I put another half. Now you behind one full month out of the 3 months you have, you paid half on the first month, half on the second month. You paid off that first month. Now you hold one bill behind. Going into the third month, you're two bills. You're gonna put a half on that, so you're gonna be a bill and a half. You're always gonna be killing yourself with that cycle. I've seen people try that method, and before they know it, all the lights got cut off. The dude was going crazy, and it was a horrible mess. I mean, this is personal. I know somebody that went through this, and the guy was just giving the woman the money to pay the bills, and she was putting half on everything, and they got evicted. Lights started getting cut off. They got evicted, and the guy went crazy. Like nothing was in his name to the craziness of it is. And, you know, a lot of times, a lot of people just, they get to a situation in their life to where, only the bare necessities they say they want to pay, and that's it. What's going on, Rob, in the building? Shout out to everybody. And the crazy part, like I said, with this situation, if no one teach me how to pay bills and I don't actually have any discipline as the first law of the 9 laws of self-govern to go out here and put in the work, how can I literally go ahead and get things done? That's why I have to go and research. That's why with discipline, taking that time, protecting yourself, second law, protecting yourself, finding the knowledge to protect yourself. A lot of people just don't know how to pay bills the right way. You know, it's easy to just take a bill, throw some money on it, take a bill, throw some money on it, keep paying it that way. Understand how you're paying it. Oh, got a little glitch going there. And knowing the rules of engagement. What are you actually doing with your money? That's the issue with a lot of us. Not being able to know what we're doing with our money successfully and to, properly manage our money for what? Better gains. You know, at the same time, you got to notice this. When you're paying your bills on time, let me go ahead and stop stream because I think I'm going to try to get this other video, this other picture show. But paying your bills on time is good. Also, you want to be able to have your money set up to the point where you can do what? Have a savings. A lot of people just don't have any money to save. They every Friday they spend as much money as they can as they have. Anything that they have is gone. Let me see if I this share screen. Guess it didn't go through. But they literally don't have no money. And the problem with them not having any money is centered around them actually just to the point this tablet it's not going through. Might have to just do slides. But centered around them not having any money is predicated on them don't know how to pay themselves first. You know, it's a lot of times that you have situations to where at a point you literally have what it takes.
You have the number one thing, the number one teacher that's always around you, and people fail to neglect that teacher. That's your phone. A lot of people have the internet right at their fingertips. We look at our phones for entertainment all the time. Why can't we actually look at our phones to actually garner the information to help us? You know, and that's the key. When it come down to it, okay, now I have to make sure I pick the right one. Nope, not that one. Okay, but in the end, a lot of times we just don't know. And when it comes to us not knowing, is because what? The lack of knowledge. We don't really research ourselves to get the proper information. By not getting the proper information, what it does to us, it hurt us even more. Okay, I see it here, but it's not sharing. Okay, there it goes. All right. So the image at hand is the Dave Ramsey. Takes a little bit to load on this. And the Dave Ramsey budget percentage. And he gives you a percentage on the budgeting. A lot of times you just don't know. You find the research. Now you see something like this with the percentages. It's still loading. Oh, you see something with the percentages. Okay. It's loading pretty slow. You see something with the percentages and you're trying to figure out actually what is this? Like, what am I doing? How do I, know this? How do I get this done? And it all centered around what? Mm, I don't know. This is kind of lagging a little bit. It is lagging hard, but we're gonna keep rolling with it. His recommended percentages: giving 10%, savings 10 to 15, food 10 to 15, utilities 5 to 10, housing 25%. As you can see, from housing to insurance at a 10 to 25%. Those are the biggest in the budget. The housing and the insurance. Dave Ramsey is big on, saving money, not touching your 401k. But if I recommend, and a lot of people learn this too by buying a house, getting that 401k under the money that you already have. I mean, getting a house with the money that you have in your 401k is a benefit. And that's the thing. Like I said over here, we try to each one teach one. You know, I always tell you, I'm not going to tell you I'm not a financial advisor. I'm not going to, I always say, do your research. You know, if more people would do their research, like as in church, when someone says something, do your research. Don't take the pastor for face value. Same thing with presidents and all. Mostly everybody that's man and woman that's walking around have made a mistake and will make a mistake. So therefore, make sure that when you're looking at people, even with Dave Ramsey and this percentage that he has, this is technically Dave Ramsey's what it says recommended. This is what he recommends because this is probably how he follows the way he does his budget and stuff. But the whole thing about this, you can critique this to benefit you. You can budget this to how benefit your scale, your life, your pay. And that's the biggest thing with a lot of us. We tend to only want to use someone else's method, go by their blueprint. There's always forms of tweaking you can use. There's always forms of, tweaking and make things to benefit or work in your favor. And that's the thing with a lot of us, we don't have that initial time taking to do the research and make sure that, whatever's going on, it's on point, it's right. You know, when it comes down to it, it takes a lot of patience in learning new things and probably pretty much implementing them the right way. It's easy for me to make the money, but it's even harder for me knowing what to do with the money and the process there is of. A lot of times I can go make um let's say about on average easy day 250 maybe $300 real easy in one day, you know. But then it comes a problem with this. Having that money, what am I doing with the money? How's the money going to benefit me if I'm not properly managing the money? Then we get into things, I have another image showing. Let's see if I can blow this up, get this a little bit bigger. Same as the others. You're mainly focusing on your household. The money you bring in every month, you can, and shout out to Wanda because Wanda does a good job of this, breaking down her finances and the checks and percentages on how much goes where each check, or some people do it mainly monthly. You know, I have a cousin, he pays all his bills between the first and the fifth. Every bill between the first and the fifth. If the bill hasn't came out yet, or he's already paid the bill previously, excuse me, what he do is he'll guesstimate it, estimate, guesstimate, and he comes with a percentage on normal rates going around for his bill normally around this time. Because note, every time you pay your bills, they will show you the previous year before how much you paid, and pretty much you can estimate, well, I normally pay $50 a month, but I was running the AC a little more this month, so maybe I'll go ahead and put 75 on the bill, you know, going from that. But with this right here, 5% of debt. A lot of people are far in between from 5% debt. With me, I'm in that category. Oh, I guess that connection dropped. But with me, I'm in that category. I have minimum on my credit cards that I use. Far as my savings is kind of rough because I go in and out my savings a lot. So 7% on my savings, it's a little bit less than 7% now. Personally, it's between the savings, it's up and down. Far as 8% on clothes, I don't really have a big budget for clothes. I set aside money in my personal, you know, and I go from there for my clothes. Leisure, I would say a good, they say 10%. I would say a good 15% goes to leisure with me due to the fact that a lot of things that I do for the kids, and just having my time. Yeah, I mean, 15% going into transportation, mostly for gas. I don't have a car note right now. I don't like car notes, so I try to pay my cars off early, whether it be my car, my wife's car, to a degree. Food is always a big budget. It says 15%. It's about right. I would think a little bit more than that. And I laugh because I always wonder why my grandma complained about groceries and stuff till I got older and I started buying my own food and then I started buying groceries for my kids. One of my sons eat like no tomorrow. This guy wants the finer things in life. He wants lobster. He wants a lot of stuff that he could do, but I mean crazy. Grocery bill. I showed you one time when I did my grocery list to where I spent over 1,500. I think when was it 15? No, it was over close to 1,000. It was $900. I spent 300 on. I spent 350 on Friday. I turned around and my wife spent because she wanted to go to the farmers market and get some fish and certain things she want. She spent about 215, and then came Monday, I spent another $300 going in there just to go buy some soap, tissue, paper towels, and things of that nature. So I went and bought some charcoal. In the charcoal process of me wanting to buy some stuff on the grill. And the number one thing is never go to the grocery store hungry. And they're right. I picked up so much stuff. I racked up about another $300. And I'm like, I literally paid too much money. Literally paid too much money. Yeah, those car notes, they get kind of crazy. I just try to stay away from them. If I do get a car note, I mostly get car notes from my wife. We try to pay it off pretty rapidly. Um, I sit there and we try to put our tax return on them. Any little extra money in the savings. Every car that we've had a car note on, we've pretty much paid it off within 3 years. I had a van car note on that, paid it off in 3 years. I had a uh Toyota Camry, paid that off in I think 3 years. No, that was I think it was close to 4 years. That was a little bit more. Um, but actually paid that off, and then the other cars were pretty much paid cash, just from saving and stuff like that. So we paid those cars cash, and when it came down to it, you know, kind of stuck to my goals, trying to get this stuff paid off. Yeah, with my kids, they eat everything, eat you out of a house and home, And I told you I have twin boys. They're 12 now. One of them, he's starting to pick up his appetite more, but the other one, appetite been there, and he's solid, but just ain't getting no bigger. He's actually the shortest one. Now he actually growing taller, a little bit taller, but his brother had a growth spurt in his feet. He went from a size 7.5 to a 9. I think a 9 just in a couple of months, probably like 3, 4 months. And I'm like, man, when this dude he started to get that growth spurt and get tall, it's gonna be crazy. And I got a budget for it. That's the thing. That's why he went from wearing kid shoes to adult shoes in one season, literally in one season. From winter approaching spring, he went from wearing, I think, a size 7 all the way to wearing a 9. Crazy. His other brother, feet is growing a little bit normal and regular, but that's the thing. You got a budget for that. Going back to my budget topic, enough with this side talks. Shout out to Shannon Ross with the sidebars. Shannon's crazy. We always have sidebars. But that's the thing with the budgeting. You got to budget for stuff like this. The stuff is not just good. You just wake up one morning, you have $1 million, you could just start throwing money at everything. You got to budget for it. Most people don't have money in their savings just to throw at stuff. They have to budget for it. Getting my car fixed, a process that happened about a week ago, about 2 weeks ago. So I got to get that car fixed. But the process with me getting it fixed, I already have the money for it, but then I'll budget for it to relieve the stress from taking it out of the account that I already know I have the money for. You know, why go ahead? I can pay it, go ahead and do that. I'm a budget to put the money back in because if something big happens, then I can at least have a little money to, plan the show for it and get the ball rolling. And that's always the key. I had a big issue one time with one of my cars. I had to put a motor in there. Luckily, I had a warranty, but then I also still had to pay um, one time. I think it was the what was it? No, no, no. I'm sorry. I didn't have a warranty on that vehicle because I let it go. And right when I let it go, I'm not gonna say my wife, but my wife got tired of paying it because that was one of her bills for the car was to pay that warranty. And just to show her, like, look, this warranty is needed. She said she didn't want to pay it no more. And I end up coming out of pocket, I think it was 1800 for the motor. No, it was 1500 for the motor. And I found a guy, an old guy I know, to put it in for 650. And she was mad about it. I was even more mad than her. But like I expressed to her, hey, that's what happens when you want to be cheap, you know. Same thing with her other car. Luckily, nothing didn't happen to that car. But hey, I try to tell her, look, and these are things that Sometimes we don't want to pay like with a home warranty. My wife didn't want me to get a home warranty. Oh, we don't need a home warranty. Anything we have it in our savings, we'll just pay for it like that. AC went out, that was no problem. I could pay to get the AC fixed. When the roof went out, I think it was like 5,500 to get the roof fixed. And the way she was looking crazy about it, like, what are we gonna do? We're gonna have to pay all that at one time? Yes, we do. Might have to get a loan out. This and that. And she's like, oh man. But I was like, we got a home warranty. Home warranty stepped in, fixed the roof. She was happy. I say, see, these why these things are needed. So she kind of got you know, the gist of it long term. But at the same time, if the money wasn't there for that and we had to go in our savings, we had to possibly take out a loan, a personal loan from somebody, these situations do happen, and that's where lines of communication, why I brought my my wife into this. It's about the lines of communication. You know, I understand you don't want to pay this bill, but you pay small now to not pay big later, you know, and that warranty has paid itself 3 times over. We got a refrigerator, we got an AC unit fix, we got a new dryer, we got the roof fix. All four of those things up under that warranty where we're paying like I think 110 a month. Taking advantage of it. I was just talking to one of my friends, an older gentleman. He's about 69 years old and he keeps renting. I told him, buy a house. I'm like, why not buy a house? Put yourself in position. I'll get someone to contact you tomorrow and they weigh your options. He said, well, my credit isn't all that good. I say, the thing of it is you're stable. You're retired. The people that sell you the house, they're going to know that pretty much when it comes down to it, you're retired. You have a stable income. It's not like your income is going to change. So you pretty much know a budget on how you're able to spend your money, for one. For two, generally, you're an older man. You don't want to keep moving and your rent keeps going higher and higher over time. He got to the mindset of, man, I'm older now. I don't need to buy a house. I should have bought a house when I was young. I should have bought a house when I was working. Man, I'm living off this. I don't want to stay in a nursing home. I don't want to, do this and that. This budget's going to save you a whole ton of money of just buying a house. Your rates are not going to change. You get a warranty that covers, the major parts. Minor things, it happens. Put money aside for savings. You know, he had a situation where his car went out. He had to go and buy another car because he needed a vehicle. Then he ended up trading that other car in, and he got that one car again. I say, but that's the rules of engagement, man. You budget for stuff like this, and he has good discipline. But the thing of it is, older people tend to look at more to worry about things to go wrong and, them not being positioned to handle things. So I just eased his mind a little more, gave him a little more advice to say, look, long term, buying a house would be a better investment than renting because rent tends to go up every single time. All right, Wanda, I'm about to get ready to jump off of here too. Got some things to do. But at the same time, like I'm saying, when it comes down to it, budgeting comes down to it, knowing your options, going by those 9 laws of self government, implement any one of those, even with applying selfishness. Reading, exercise, not only exercising, running around on that treadmill, exercising the mind, getting yourself prepared for this journey in your finances to make sure you make the right choices. You know, planting seeds and being patient, putting this money into savings, letting it grow, putting your money into a life insurance policy, letting it grow. You're planting the seeds. Build something. Build your financial wealth. That's the key. And until then, you know what I always say? We here and we gone.